The galaxy was at the edge of another great war. The human alliance had grown strong in the last 50 years, but not strong enough to face the rising threat of the Dominion fleet, a ruthless empire that conquered world after world. The only chance for peace was an alliance with the Velronian kingdom, a proud alien civilization known for their energy shields and ancient honor. Yet the Velronian people were cautious and proud. They did not trust humans easily. To seal this alliance, the Velronian queen made an unexpected demand, a marriage bond between her daughter, Princess Vera of Velrona, and a human representative. Many in the human council whispered that it was a strange tradition, but the diplomats knew it was the only way to unite both sides. The queen believed that marriage between bloodlines would tie the fates of both races forever. After long discussions, the human alliance chose Captain Elias Ward, a brave officer known for his honor and calm nature. He was young but already respected, known as a man who never broke his word. When he heard about the mission, Elias did not show excitement or fear. He simply saluted and said, "If this brings peace, I will do my duty." He didn't know much about Princess Vera, only that she was said to be wise and kind, and that her appearance was unusual by human standards. The royal ship Star of Velrona landed in orbit above the human capital, Nova Prime. Elias stood at the docking bay, surrounded by soldiers and diplomats. Everyone's eyes turned as the ship's gates opened, and a royal procession stepped out. The air shimmered with gold light as the Velronian guards marched, their tall forms shining under their silver armor. Then she appeared, Princess Vera. She was unlike any woman Elias had ever seen. Her body was enormous and round, her skin faintly glowing with a soft lavender hue. Her large, gentle eyes carried wisdom and sadness, and her voice, when she spoke, was deep and calm like a river. "I greet the human captain," she said in her rich tone. Elias bowed respectfully. "And I greet the Princess of Velrona. It is an honor, Your Highness." Around them, murmurs rose. Some human officers could not hide their surprise at her size. Others exchanged quiet, mocking smiles. But Elias never looked away or showed judgment. The princess noticed that. For a moment, her expression softened. The wedding took place 3 days later in the Hall of Harmony, a giant chamber built for peace ceremonies. Human and Velronian banners hung side by side. The ceremony was full of strange customs. Elias wore a golden mantle with the Velronian crest, while the princess stood beside him in a shimmering gown made of crystal threads. When the high priest of Velrona placed their hands together, a bright energy ring formed around them, a symbol of unity. "Two worlds now share one fate," the priest declared. "Let peace be born through their bond." Elias spoke his vow clearly. "I, Elias Ward, take this bond not for myself, but for the peace of our people." Princess Vera's eyes flickered. She spoke her vow in a soft but steady voice. "And I, Vera of Velrona, accept this bond, not as duty, but as hope." The hall erupted in cheers, but Elias could see behind her calm face a quiet pain. He realized she was not truly accepted by her own people either. After the ceremony, they traveled aboard the royal cruiser Radiant Star to Velrona, where they would live for the next few months. The journey was long, passing through glowing nebulae and silent starfields. Elias spent much of the time learning about Velronian customs. They were a people of strength and endurance, evolved on a high-gravity planet. Their bodies were dense and heavy, built to survive pressure 10 times that of Earth. That was why Vera's form looked large by human eyes. It was a symbol of her world's power, not weakness. One evening, Elias entered the observation deck and saw the princess standing alone. She was gazing out at the stars, her reflection shimmering in the glass. He hesitated before speaking. "You seem troubled, Princess." She didn't turn. "Do you think this marriage will change anything, Captain?" "I believe it can," Elias answered. "If both sides want peace." Vera smiled faintly. "Humans value beauty, Captain. My people value strength. I have neither in their eyes. They call me the heavy flower. They think my place is only in the palace shadows." Her words carried quiet pain. Elias didn't know what to say at first. Then he replied, "I don't see shadows, Princess. I see someone who holds the weight of 2 worlds on her shoulders." For the first time, she looked at him directly, and there was a spark of warmth in her eyes. As days passed, they began to talk more often. Elias discovered she had deep knowledge of science and technology. She designed energy shields that could block plasma weapons, yet no one gave her credit because of her appearance. Once, when the ship's engineers struggled with a damaged power conduit, Vera calmly walked in. Without hesitation, she lifted a heavy shield plate with her bare arms, something 3 humans couldn't move together, and fixed the issue in minutes. Elias stood stunned. "That was impressive," she laughed softly. "It's normal strength for my kind. You forget, Captain, my bones are made for crushing gravity." Her laughter echoed in the metal hall, warm and rich. For the first time since the marriage, Elias smiled naturally, but peace never came easily. Rumors spread across both empires that the human-Velronian marriage was only a show, that humans wanted access to Velronian technology. News channels mocked the union. "The human alliance found a strange way to gain favor," one alien anchor said on a broadcast. Elias ignored it, but he noticed how it hurt the princess. She stopped joining dinners and avoided public appearances. One night, Elias found her again on the deck, her back turned to the stars. "Do you regret it?" she asked quietly. He shook his head. "No. I only regret that people see what they want, not what is true." She turned to him slowly. "And what do you see, Captain?" He thought for a moment. "A woman stronger than anyone I've ever met." Vera's lips trembled slightly, as if she wanted to smile but couldn't. "You speak kindly, Captain Ward, but you don't know what I truly am." Before he could ask, an alarm blared through the cruiser. The ship trembled as red lights filled the corridors. "Pirates!" shouted the guard commander. "A Dominion raiding squad. They've found us." Elias rushed to the command deck, but before he could give orders, Vera stepped forward. Her calm voice echoed through the chaos. "Activate internal shields. Route all energy to Sector 3. I'll handle the stabilization." Without waiting, she placed her hand on a glowing console. Blue energy surged through her body, lighting her veins. The ship steadied instantly. Everyone on the bridge froze. Elias stared in awe. "What did you just do?" She looked at him with a quiet smile. "Something I was never supposed to show you, Captain. Something my people hide." Before he could speak again, the ship's scanners showed the pirate vessels retreating. Vera had saved them all. At that moment, Elias realized his duty had just changed. He hadn't married a symbol of peace. He had married someone who might save the galaxy. The attack of the Dominion pirates had changed everything. The human crew and the Velronian guards now looked at Princess Vera with new eyes. The woman they once thought slow and soft had saved them all with a single act of bravery. But even after her heroism, she did not celebrate. While others cheered, she returned quietly to her quarters. Captain Elias Ward stood on the command deck, watching the stars slide by as the cruiser continued its journey. He couldn't stop thinking about what he had seen. The way blue light had pulsed through her hands. How she had calmed the raging energy surge like she had become part of the ship itself. He finally turned to his first officer. "Lieutenant Kara, did you record the readings from the princess's interface?" "Yes, sir," Kara said, frowning. "But it's strange. Her body's energy output was higher than any reactor cell we have. It's like she became the power source herself." Elias nodded slowly. "Keep this between us for now. The Velronian court doesn't want her secret exposed." Kara saluted, but her eyes were full of curiosity. Later that night, Elias went to the royal wing of the ship. 2 guards stepped aside as he approached the door. He found the princess standing near the wide observation window again, watching the deep blue stars of Velrona's sector grow larger. "You should be resting," he said softly. "I don't feel tired," she answered. Her voice was calm but distant. "It happens often after I use my energy." Elias folded his arms. "You saved everyone. That power, whatever it was, could change everything. Why hide it?" Vera turned to him slowly. Her lavender eyes reflected the starlight. "Because my people fear what they do not understand. They call it a curse. They believe it makes me unnatural." Elias shook his head. "No, it makes you remarkable." Her lips curved slightly. "You are kind, Captain. But kindness is not what my world values. They wanted a beautiful heir, not one who glows like a reactor." She turned back to the stars. "When I was young, I tried to hide my strength. I learned to walk softly so the floors would not bend. I learned to eat little so the servants would stop whispering about my size. But no matter what I did, they always looked at me the same way." Her words hung in the quiet air, Elias took a slow breath. They will look differently soon, he said. You've proven what you can do, but she shook her head. No, Captain. One battle doesn't change a lifetime of judgment. The cruiser Radiant Star reached Velrona 2 days later. The planet looked like a glowing pearl from orbit, covered in oceans of purple and silver. When they landed at the royal spaceport, a crowd of thousands waited. The Velronian queen herself stood with her ministers, tall and regal, her silver crown shining under the twin suns. Welcome home, my daughter, the queen said as Vera stepped down the ramp. The crowd bowed, but Elias noticed how some nobles looked away, their faces cold. They whispered to each other, their eyes darting toward Vera's large form. The queen's smile was polite but distant. You did well in driving off the raiders. The people are safe. You have honored your title, but there was no warmth in her voice. Vera bowed deeply. Thank you, Mother. The queen then turned to Elias. And you, Captain Ward, you are now family to Velrona. May your loyalty be as strong as your word. Elias bowed back. It will be, Your Majesty. But deep inside he could feel the weight of something unspoken. The queen's eyes were sharp. She saw the marriage as duty, not as bond. The days that followed were long and formal. The royal palace was enormous, filled with crystal towers and shimmering halls that bent light like mirrors. Vera's daily schedule was strict. Political meetings, training sessions, ceremonial appearances. Elias often sat beside her, silent but observant. He noticed how she tried to act perfect, hiding every emotion, every sign of weariness. When she walked through the corridors, nobles stepped aside, not out of respect but out of quiet judgment. One evening, during a royal banquet, a thin Velronian noble made a sly comment. Ah, the Princess of Power herself, he said with a smile. Perhaps she could crush the Dominion by simply sitting on them. Laughter rippled through the table. Elias's jaw tightened. He stood abruptly, the chair scraping against the floor. With respect, he said coldly, the princess saved my crew in this alliance with her strength. Tell me, Lord Saran, how many lives have you saved lately? The noble's smile faded instantly. The room went silent. Vera's eyes widened slightly. She whispered, Captain. But the queen only raised an eyebrow and said, Enough. Sit down, all of you. Elias obeyed, but he could feel the cold looks around him. Yet for the first time that night, Vera's lips curved in a small, genuine smile. After the banquet, Vera found him on the balcony overlooking the glowing city. The night air was cool, filled with the scent of crystal flowers. You shouldn't have done that, she said quietly. I couldn't stay silent, he replied. You didn't deserve that. She looked at him, her eyes soft. No one has ever defended me like that before. I wasn't defending a princess, Elias said. I was defending a person who deserves respect. For a long moment they stood in silence. The moonlight made her skin shine like liquid silver. Then she said something that surprised him. When the pirates attacked, I felt something new inside me. A kind of fire. I think it awakened something deeper. What do you mean? Elias asked. I'm not sure yet, but the energy I used, it's growing stronger. I can feel it even now. She looked at her hands, faint blue light flickering beneath the skin. Maybe it's not just a curse. Maybe it's something meant to protect, not destroy. Elias nodded slowly. Then you should learn to control it. Her expression grew thoughtful. Would you help me? He hesitated only a moment. Of course. In the following weeks they trained together in secret. Every night when the palace lights dimmed, Vera and Elias went to the high-gravity chamber, a massive room used for royal endurance exercises. The air inside was thick and heavy, almost crushing to humans. Elias wore a reinforced suit to withstand it. But Vera moved easily, her steps steady and powerful. She practiced channeling her energy through her palms, trying to summon the same light she had used on the ship. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Elias guided her with patience. Breathe slowly. Focus. Don't force it. Let it flow. One night, after many failures, Vera finally managed it. Her hands glowed bright blue and the gravity around them pulsed. The entire floor shook slightly. She gasped. It worked. Elias laughed, unable to hide his pride. You did it. Her joy was pure and bright. She turned toward him, her large frame trembling with excitement. Captain, maybe I can really help protect our people. He nodded. I believe you can. You just needed someone to remind you of your worth. Vera's smile softened. You've given me more than that, Elias. You've given me something I thought I'd lost, faith in myself. At that moment, he saw her differently. Not as a political partner or a strange royal, but as someone deeply human, even though she wasn't. But the peace didn't last long. One morning, a royal messenger arrived with urgent news. The Dominion fleet had crossed the border again, heading straight toward Velrona's outer colonies. The Queen called for an emergency council. The alliance between humans and Velronians would soon face its first real test. As the council gathered, nobles argued, generals panicked, and the Queen demanded answers. But Vera rose from her seat, her voice cutting through the noise. Enough, she said firmly. If we want peace, we must defend it together. Let me lead the shield fleet. The room went silent. The Queen stared at her daughter in disbelief. You? Vera nodded. Yes, Mother. I will protect our people. The Queen's lips pressed into a thin line. You risk too much. Vera glanced at Elias. Sometimes, Mother, risk is the only path worth taking. And with that, the princess who once doubted herself stood ready to face the storm that was coming. The council chamber of Velrona glowed with golden light as the royal meeting began. Tension filled the air. Generals, scientists, and diplomats from both the human alliance and the Velronian kingdom sat in a circle around the Queen's high throne. The Dominion had launched another offensive. 3 fleets were already approaching the border colonies. The alliance had only days to act. The Queen looked weary. Our outer colonies will fall if we do nothing. But our shield corps are not ready. We cannot risk the capital. Before she could continue, Princess Vera rose from her seat. Her long ceremonial robe shimmered with soft blue threads. Mother, she said calmly, let me command the shield fleet. I can activate the planetary barrier myself. The room went silent. Several nobles exchanged nervous glances. One of them, Lord Siran, the same who had insulted her earlier, stood up with a sneer. Your Highness, with respect, that's impossible. The energy needed for the shield would kill a person. Vera's voice remained calm. Not me. Elias sat beside her, watching closely. He already knew what she meant. He had seen that light within her before. The Queen's expression hardened. You speak of your condition. Vera met her gaze. It's not a condition, Mother. It's a gift. The same power that once frightened our people can now save them. The Queen hesitated. You risk your life. And if you fail, both empires will burn. Vera straightened her shoulders. If I don't try, they will burn anyway. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then the Queen finally nodded. So be it. The shield fleet leaves at dawn. May the stars protect you, my daughter. That night, the palace was silent. Elias stood outside the princess's chamber, staring at the glowing twin moons over the city. He didn't know what to say. When Vera stepped out, she was wearing her command armor, silver plates shaped to fit her large frame, glowing faintly with blue energy veins. You're really going to do this, Elias said quietly. Yes, she answered simply. It's my duty. He took a step closer. Then I'll go with you. She blinked, surprised. This is a Velronian operation, Captain. You don't have to. I know, Elias interrupted. But I want to. You're my ally and my wife. For a brief second, her calm mask broke. Her eyes softened, filled with something he had never seen before. Gratitude mixed with something warmer. Then we'll face it together, she said. The next morning, the shield fleet prepared for departure. Dozens of Velronian warships floated above the capital, their hulls glowing under the sunlight. Human escort ships joined them, small but fast. Vera commanded from the royal dreadnought Solaris, the largest vessel ever built by her people. Its bridge was a cathedral of crystal and light. Elias stood beside her, wearing a hybrid uniform that displayed both human and Velronian insignia. The crews worked together under her calm orders. Set course for the outer colonies, she said. Prepare the shield corps. We'll meet the Dominion at the Twin Suns. As the fleet jumped into hyperspace, blue light filled the stars. The Dominion appeared sooner than expected, a swarm of black ships like shadows across the void. Their weapons glowed with red light, hungry for destruction. The first exchange of fire was brutal. Plasma bolts and energy lances tore across the dark. The Solaris shook, alarms blaring. Shields at 70%, shouted the tactical officer. Elias turned to Vera. If we stay in formation, we'll be surrounded. Vera nodded. Then we change the field. She pressed her hand to the main control crystal. Instantly, her body began to glow. The blue energy pulsed through her armor, linking her life force with the ship's reactor. The officers gasped as every screen brightened. Energy output rising, beyond maximum, one cried. Elias's heart pounded. Vera, stop. You'll burn out the core. She shook her head. No, I am the core. The Solaris unleashed a blinding wave of light. The Dominion's first line of ships vanished under the energy blast, their hulls melting away. The bridge fell silent as the light faded. The Dominion fleet scattered in confusion. Elias stared at her, awe filling his chest. You saved us again. Vera exhaled slowly, her glow fading. It's not over yet, but the victory came with a price. The effort had drained her strength. Her breathing grew heavy and her steps slowed. Elias rushed to her side. You need rest, she shook her head. The shield field, not yet stabilized. I have to keep the flow balanced or it will collapse. He looked at the glowing lines on her armor, faint cracks of light spreading along the metal. Her body was channeling more power than any being should. You can't keep this up forever, he said. I can hold long enough, she whispered. For the next several hours, the Solaris fought off wave after wave of Dominion attackers. Human fighters weaved through the chaos, protecting the larger ships, while Vera's energy shield covered the entire fleet. News of her defense spread fast. Across both empires, broadcasts reported, the Princess of Velrona holds the line. Human and Velronian forces united under one banner. In every control room, people watched her image, the large alien princess glowing like a star, her eyes full of determination. Even the queen, watching from the capital, whispered to herself, perhaps I was wrong about her. But the Dominion had one more weapon, the Sun Spear, a cannon powered by twin stars. Its energy could vaporize a planet in seconds. When the Dominion flagship appeared on sensors, Elias felt his stomach twist. They're charging the Sun Spear. Vera's expression turned calm. Then I must stop it. Wait, Elias grabbed her arm. You can't block that kind of blast. It'll destroy you. She looked at him gently. You once said I carried the weight of 2 worlds. Let me prove it. She walked to the core chamber, the walls glowing as her energy linked directly to the reactor. Elias followed, shouting orders to the crew. Divert all power to the shields. Keep formation! Vera stepped into the energy field, her armor breaking apart as blue light wrapped around her like a second skin. When the Sun Spear fired, a beam of red light as wide as a mountain cut through space. The Solaris stood directly in its path. Vera raised her arms and her body blazed like a small sun. The impact shook the stars themselves. Elias shielded his eyes as the bridge exploded with light. For a moment he thought the entire fleet was gone, but when the light faded, the beam was gone, reflected harmlessly into the void. Vera's glow dimmed. She collapsed, her body motionless, but the fleet stood untouched. Elias ran to her side. Vera, stay with me. Her eyes opened weakly. Did we win? He nodded, tears blurring his vision. Yes, you did it. She smiled faintly. Then maybe they'll finally see who I am. And with that, she slipped into unconsciousness. Hours later, as the Dominion fleet retreated, the combined forces of humanity and Velrona celebrated their victory. Elias carried Vera to the medbay himself. The doctors worked tirelessly. They said her body had absorbed so much energy that it was beyond their understanding how she had survived at all. When the Queen appeared on the comms, her voice trembled for the first time. Captain Ward, you have my gratitude. And my daughter has my pride. Elias looked down at Vera lying in the medical pod, her chest rising slowly. She deserves more than pride, Your Majesty, he said softly. She deserves to be remembered. For days, Vera remained unconscious. The galaxy spoke her name in wonder. Humans and Velronians alike called her the shield-bearer of 2 worlds, and through it all Elias stayed by her side, refusing to leave even for a moment. He realized something then. He hadn't just married her for peace or duty. He had found something far greater than either, but he still didn't know if she would ever open her eyes again. The twin suns of the Velrona system rose over the horizon, painting the spaceport in golden and violet light. For the first time in days, Captain Elias Ward felt a mixture of fear and hope. Princess Vera had regained consciousness. She was pale and weak from the energy overload, but her eyes shone with determination. "The Dominion fleet is regrouping," she whispered from her medical bed. "They will strike the outer colonies in hours. We must leave soon." Elias took her hand gently. "You don't need to go, Vera. Let the fleet handle it." She shook her head. "I can't. If I don't link with the Royal Dreadnought's core, the shields won't hold. We'll lose everything." Elias understood then that the princess wasn't just brave. She carried responsibility for millions in her very being. Her body, once mocked for size and shape, was now the key to survival. By midday, the shield fleet was in formation above Velrona's outer colonies. Human destroyers zipped between the massive Velronian ships, scanning for enemy activity. The Dominion fleet appeared like a storm, black ships stretching farther than the eye could see. Their energy lances glowed red, ready to burn through the defenses. Elias stood on the Solaris bridge beside Vera, who now wore a lighter version of her command armor. Faint blue light pulsed beneath her skin, a reminder of the power she had survived days ago. "Are you ready?" Elias asked quietly. She smiled faintly. "As ready as I'll ever be. Stay close." The fleet engines roared and the battle began. The first wave of Dominion fighters charged. Plasma bolts streaked across the void. Human fighters darted between them, firing at enemy ships. Velronian turrets fired in precise patterns coordinated by Vera's calm commands. Elias watched in awe as she moved from console to console, issuing orders with clarity and focus. Her body seemed larger somehow, commanding attention not with form but with presence. One Dominion cruiser broke formation and aimed directly at the colonies. "Divert all fire to that ship," Elias shouted. Vera's hand hovered over the core interface. "I'll handle it." Blue light erupted from her palms, flowing into the ship's energy grid. Shields flared outward like waves. The Dominion cruiser's shots bounced harmlessly off the barrier. Then, with a surge of energy, the Solaris launched a concentrated pulse. The enemy ship disintegrated in a burst of red and gold fire. The bridge erupted in quiet awe. Human and Velronian officers stared at the princess. She had done what no one else could. Elias's heart swelled with pride. "She's incredible," he whispered. Hours passed, and the Dominion launched wave after wave of attacks. But Vera's presence on the Solaris made a difference. Each ship's shields were synchronized with her bioenergy, amplifying their strength beyond known limits. Elias noticed a pattern. The Dominion fleet was cautious now, trying to avoid her direct energy pulses. Yet she never hesitated, never faltered. Every command, every calculation was precise. At one point, a small squadron of Dominion stealth ships tried to flank the fleet. They approached from a blind spot near the twin suns. "Captain, they're using the suns to hide," shouted the tactical officer. Elias looked at Vera. "Do you see it?" "Yes." Her fingers touched the interface. "I'll draw them out." A soft blue wave pulsed outward from her body. It scanned every ship, revealing hidden vessels. The fleet adjusted, firing precisely. One by one, the stealth ships were destroyed. Elias felt his respect deepen. She's not just strong. She's brilliant. But the Dominion had a final weapon. The Twin Sun Spear, a massive cannon powered by the energy of both suns. Its beam could destroy an entire planet. Sensors showed the massive construct approaching at terrifying speed. Elias turned to Vera. "It's too late to stop it conventionally. You need to—" "I know," she interrupted, calm as ever. "I will link directly with the Dreadnought's core. I can deflect it, but it will take everything I have." He grabbed her hand. "Vera, you don't have to do this alone. We'll find another way." She shook her head. "There is no other way. If I hesitate, billions will die, and I will never forgive myself." Elias swallowed hard. He could see the strain on her face, the faint tremor in her hands. But her eyes were steady. "I'll stay with you," he said softly, "until the last moment." The Solaris moved into the path of the Sun Spear. Vera placed both hands on the glowing crystal core. Blue energy surged through her, spreading across the ship's hull. Elias watched in tense silence. The ship began to hum, resonating with her bioenergy. Light flared across the bridge as she became a living conduit of power. The Sun Spear fired. A red beam larger than a city tore through space toward Velrona. Vera raised her arms, her body shining brighter than the twin suns. The beam collided with the shield, and for a moment the entire galaxy seemed to hold its breath. Energy crackled, metal groaned, and light exploded in all directions. Elias could feel the heat on his face, even through the reinforced armor of the bridge. Then slowly the red beam fractured, splitting into harmless shards that scattered into space. The Dominion flagship wavered, unable to withstand the combined force of the Princess and the Dreadnought's core. It exploded in a dazzling display of fire and light. The rest of the Dominion fleet retreated, leaving the colonies untouched. When the bridge lights returned to normal, Elias ran to Vera. Her body was drained, her armor cracked, but her eyes held a faint glow. "You did it," he said, voice thick with emotion. "You saved everyone," she smiled weakly. "We saved everyone. Together." Medical teams rushed in, gently carrying her to the medbay. Elias followed, refusing to leave her side. The doctors shook their heads. "I don't know how she survived that," one said. "The energy overload should have killed her instantly." Elias watched as Vera was stabilized in the healing chamber. Her chest rose slowly, her breathing steady. He felt a mix of awe and relief. The woman everyone once mocked as slow, heavy, and fragile had become the galaxy's savior. The news spread quickly. Across the Human Alliance and Velrona, citizens and officials alike spoke in awe of the Princess Shieldbearer. Even the Queen, who had doubted her daughter's abilities, stood silently in her chambers, watching reports on the main screen. For the first time, she felt true pride. "She carries the future of two worlds," she whispered to herself. As the fleet returned to Velrona, Elias stayed by Vera's side. He knew something had shifted between them. The political marriage he had once considered a duty now carried a new meaning. She had not only shocked him with her strength and courage, but she had also awakened a deep respect. A bond forged not by politics, but by shared trials and trust. The galaxy had seen her power. Elias had seen her heart, and together they would face whatever the future held. The twin suns of Velrona had just risen, and the sky shimmered with soft violet and gold. The shield fleet returned victorious, the Dominion forces retreating far beyond the border. Across the colonies, citizens cheered, waving flags of both Velrona and the Human Alliance. Inside the capital, Captain Elias Ward walked beside Princess Vera. She was still recovering from the immense energy she had channeled, but her posture was firm, her eyes bright. The palace corridors were unusually quiet. Courtiers and nobles gave way silently as they passed, their usual whispers replaced by awe. Elias noticed the subtle bowing and murmured respect. No one mocked her anymore. Vera turned to him. "It feels strange," she said softly, "to walk and see people not judging me." Elias smiled. "You've earned it, not by being what they wanted, but by being yourself." She looked at him, a gentle blush on her cheeks. "And yet I could not have done it without you." He shook his head. "No, you saved everyone. I only stayed by your side." For a moment they shared a quiet understanding, a bond deeper than politics, stronger than tradition. The Queen summoned them to the Grand Hall. The chamber was filled with nobles, officers, and the people's representatives. Every eye was on Vera and Elias. "My daughter," the Queen began, her voice steady but proud, "today you have proven something remarkable, not only to our people, but to the galaxy itself. You have shown strength, courage, and wisdom beyond what any tradition could demand." Vera's gaze met her mother's. "I only did what I had to do, for our people, for peace." The Queen's eyes softened. "And yet in doing so you have changed the way all of us see you, and the way we see what one individual can achieve." Applause filled the chamber. Elias watched Vera, seeing her shoulders relax for the first time since he had met her. The weight of judgment had finally lifted. Later, in private, Vera led Elias to the observation balcony. The twin suns cast long, golden reflections across the city. "I never imagined it could feel like this," she said quietly. "To not be mocked, to be respected, to be seen for what I truly am." Elias took her hand. "You've always been remarkable. The world just needed to see it." She laughed softly, the sound warm and musical. "Perhaps I underestimated humans. Perhaps humans underestimated Velronians," he replied with a smile. "But together we've shown the galaxy what's possible." Her eyes glimmered. "And what about us, Elias? Beyond duty, beyond politics, what does it mean for you and me?" He thought for a moment. "It means we face the future together. Not as captain and princess, not as alliance symbols, but as partners. Equal, trusted, and, yes, even friends. Vera's gaze softened. Friends. I think that is a good beginning. Word of their victory and bravery spread quickly across the galaxy. News holo broadcasts showed images of the princess glowing in battle, commanding the shield fleet with precision and power. Humans and aliens alike hailed her as a hero. Even distant star systems whispered about the unusual couple. The human who married for alliance, and the princess who became the savior of two worlds. Elias noticed something strange. For the first time, he realized that people weren't just respecting Vera because of her size or strength. They were inspired by her courage and determination. The very things they had once mocked had become her greatest strengths. He squeezed her hand. Do you see that? They're not just respecting you. They admire you. Vera's lips curved in a soft, contented smile. It feels unexpected. You shocked them, he said gently, just like you shocked me. In the following days, Elias and Vera worked together to strengthen the alliance. They oversaw rebuilding damaged colonies, reorganizing defenses, and training new pilots and soldiers. Where before nobles had looked down on Vera, now they sought her advice. Where humans had doubted her ability, now they followed her commands without hesitation. Elias watched with quiet pride. She was no longer the heavy flower whispered about in the palace halls. She was the princess of Velrona, guardian of the alliance and a symbol of what one individual could achieve. Vera, for her part, discovered joy in new things. She trained with human officers, learning tactics and strategies, and laughed freely in private moments with Elias. They shared stories, jokes, and quiet evenings looking at the stars. The bond between them grew stronger every day. A bond not built on political necessity, but mutual respect, trust, and admiration. One afternoon, while walking through the city gardens, Elias noticed children gathering around Vera. They were fascinated by her size, her gentle voice, and the faint glow that still sometimes shimmered across her skin. Princess Vera, one small child called. Did you really stop the Dominion ships with your hands? She knelt, smiling warmly. Yes, little one, but I had many friends helping me. The child looked at Elias. Even the human helped. Elias laughed softly. I helped her stay calm. Vera placed a hand on his shoulder. And together we protected your home, your people, and mine. The child's eyes widened. Wow, you're both heroes. Elias glanced at Vera. Heroes? It doesn't feel like a title when it's you, does it? Vera laughed softly. No, but it feels right. Back in the royal palace, the queen approached them privately. She looked at her daughter and Elias with a mixture of admiration and humility. You have exceeded every expectation I ever had, the queen said. I doubted your marriage, Vera. I doubted your abilities. And now, I see that my daughter has saved our worlds and united them. And you, Captain Ward, have stood by her through everything. I am proud of you both, Vera bowed slightly. Thank you, Mother. I only did what I could. The queen reached out, placing a hand on Vera's shoulder. You are more than my daughter. You are a beacon for the galaxy. Elias squeezed Vera's hand. He realized then that she had changed not just the course of the war, but the hearts of everyone around her, including her mother. The days turned into weeks, and peace returned. Colonies rebuilt, trade resumed, and the alliance between humans and Velronians grew stronger than ever. In the quiet moments, Elias and Vera found themselves alone on the balcony again. The twin suns dipped into the horizon, painting the sky in pink and gold. You know, Vera said softly, I never imagined a human could see me. Really see me, Elias smiled. I saw you from the beginning. Strength, courage, wisdom, and something more. You are unlike anyone else I've ever met. She blushed faintly, looking down. I thought I would always be judged. Never admired. You shocked the galaxy, Elias said gently. But you shocked me first. And in that I found something I didn't expect. She looked up at him, eyes shimmering. And what is that? Respect, he said. Trust and a sense that we can face anything together. Not because we are perfect, but because we are human and Velronian. Together. For the first time, Vera laughed freely, a sound full of warmth. Then I think we have a future worth living, Elias smiled. Yes, a future not of politics or alliances, but of trust, courage, and perhaps even love. Vera's eyes softened. Then let's face it, Elias, together. They stood side by side, watching the sun sink below the horizon, knowing that the galaxy had witnessed a new kind of heroism, one born not from rules or appearances, but from heart, courage, and unwavering determination. And for the first time, both the princess and the human felt that the galaxy truly understood them, and that their bond was unbreakable.